You're listening to The Rich Life Revolution with me, Michelle Cooper. My mission is to empower you to step into your next level of wealthy. You'll hear all the deets, a little bit of inspiration, and real life takeaways so that you can create your own rich life revolution. Let's dig in. Hey girl, hey, welcome back to the Rich Life Revolution. I'm your host, Michelle Cooper, and today we're stepping into the world of healing, nature, and transformation with a truly incredible guest, Miss Kayse Gehret. Kayse has been a leader in the healing arts for 29 years. Yep, you heard that right. Lots of experience there. And she has dedicated her life to helping others discover their connection to themselves through the practice of microdosing. Now, before you get any ideas, no, this isn't about wild trips or psychedelic adventures, despite I love those things. Microdosing is all about taking a tiny intentional amount of psilocybin to unlock massive healing benefits while staying fully present and functional in your daily life. In today's conversation, we are diving into everything from emotional regulation, anxiety, and nervous system healing to why working with the right guide and intention really matters, and how microdosing has transformed Kayse's life and the lives of her clients in extraordinary ways. And wait until you hear about the mystical ways mushrooms have called people to their healing journey. It's truly wild, including myself. If you've ever been curious about microdosing or wondered if this path might be the right kind of support for your emotional, physical, or spiritual healing, this episode is going to speak directly to your soul. So grab a cup of tea, get cozy, and let's lean in as we chat with the inspiring Kayse Gehret. Welcome, Kayse. It's so good to have you on the Rich Life Revolution.
It's so good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. I am super excited about our conversation today. And I would love to start this by asking you to brag about yourself a little.
Okay. So I have been in the healing arts for 29 years now. I've been doing microdosing work specifically since 2020, and it's really synthesized and brought together everything that I have ever studied and done. So I'm super excited to talk about it with you today, and I'm really excited to focus on what is interesting to your audience regarding the practice.
Awesome. Awesome. And whereabouts in the world are you located?
I am now I live on an island off the coast of Florida on the Atlantic side.
Oh, wow. Exciting. That's nice. Yes. That's so good. I have a friend who lives down there in a small island on a farm. She decided, screw it. I am buying this farm on an island and I'm just going to have my chickens and like do my thing. And she is loving life. Like it's awesome. Awesome to see.
Love it.
I love Florida. I'm up north at northern Canada kind of thing. So I'm craving that sunshine right now because when we're recording this for everybody listening, it's January and it's freaking cold where I am. So
I bet.
Yeah. So let's kind of start this conversation, right? For those who are completely unfamiliar, can you tell us what is microdosing?
Yes, happy to. So microdosing is taking a small subperceptual dose of a psychedelic. Particularly in my case, I work with mushrooms, but there are different substances that one can microdose. But the point is taking a dose that is small enough that you feel benefits and gifts and have therapeutic benefits, but you are not tripping or distorted or altered in any way.
Right. Because there might be some people who are a little nervous about that aspect, right? Like
many.
Yeah, for sure. Right. And, I be very transparent with my audience, right? I have done microdosing a few years ago and it was hugely beneficial for me at the time. I was going through a bit of a thing but I was nervous, as I always am around plant medicine, because in my past, I have loved psychedelic drugs. So that in my 20s and stuff, that was like my drug of choice, was any form of psychedelic drug. And very much now that I look back, was in an addictive relationship with that. And so for me, I was concerned always, whether it was a macro dose or a microdose, that is this going to be a trigger that will lead to me going back down that road? Right. Do you ever find people kind of nervous about that?
I do. I work with a lot of beginners, and I work with a lot of people who could not a few years ago have even conceived of working with psychedelics. So I am, and part of a lot of my clients are part of Gen X. So we kind of grew up in the 80s with this just say no to drugs. And so a lot of people went hard in either direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
That was me.
Either completely abstinent or completely just went for it. And so a lot of people do come in with a lot of stigma and fear and trepidation. And that's why microdosing is so wonderful for those people, because it's dipping your toe in without kind of going into a ceremonial journey or a high dose experience right away.
Right, right. And yeah, so for me, it took away the anxiety that I was feeling around going down this route, which led me to be open to, more of a macrodose experience or journey. And both are beneficial, both have their uses, I feel. So yeah, I appreciate that, because it's not, like you said, there's people I think who would never think about doing this, but then they can be like, I wonder if this would help, right? And for me, I'm a very strong believer that nature heals, and psilocybin or mushrooms is part of nature, right? I remember in my kind of up to going through that microdosing experience, I watched I think it was called Fantastic Fungi.
Yeah.
I loved it. I was like, oh my God, these mushrooms, they're so intelligent. Like, what's going on? So yeah, do you advocate for checking that movie out?
I mean, we watched that film in my program. Yeah, that's one of the films mentioned that people watch during our 6-week immersion. And yeah, it just captivates people and it grabs them. The beauty and wonder of nature just really takes people in, and you understand, yes, we are nature. Nature is us, and it's tremendously healing just to reconnect with nature. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about what brings people to this place where they consider, going down this route with you or whoever, right? Like what's going on for them, and how can this support?
It's so diverse at this point, which is so, so fun. I mean, what gets the most attention is mental health. Because that's, the moment we're living in, and through science and pharma, it's kind of couched in that framework. So it's deeply effective for depression above all. Also anxiety, ADHD, obsessive compulsive disorder, lots of addiction, eating disorders, lots and lots of mental health issues, emotional regulation, women's health issues. A lot of people now are coming for a variety of reasons, but they're just drawn to deepen their connection to self, personal development, spiritual discovery, and then also physical healing. So a lot of people with nervous system dysregulation across the board. I personally had a grand mal seizure disorder that I healed with mushroom practice.
Wow.
Yes, that's what brought me into this work. And I've had many, many people since then that I've supported with nervous system dysregulation that have healed concussions, car accidents, TBI, migraine headaches, cluster headaches, anything that's rooted in the nervous system. It's deeply healing for, as well as women's health, like PMDD, PMS, and hormonal dysregulation.
Right. So for me, now a couple of things you dropped in there, which I didn't even think of, but what I was experiencing was I felt kind of disconnected from myself. I felt, it was at a time where I was just about to hit menopause. So I think there was a lot going on physically with hormones and stuff. I have had 5 serious concussions. I played roller derby, so it's just part of the sport, right? 2 where I lost consciousness. And so I didn't kind of connect that piece. I used to have a lot of headaches. Really how, like, I felt that disconnection to myself, but I also felt like my nervous system was really swinging up and down. Like I couldn't regulate it, right? Just through like breath work or meditation, the things that I had been trying. And I tried so many things, right? And so it was actually a friend of mine who was like, have you ever thought about microdosing? And I was like, oh God, like I have, but I'm just worried, right? Like I just know myself and I know my history. And the thing that she explained to me was, she said, you were a different person then, with a different belief system and different trauma levels and like different life experiences. Like just because that was your experience in the late 80s and 90s, that doesn't mean that would be your experience now. So
Absolutely.
I was kind of like, oh, okay. You know, I'm willing to kind of go down this route and work with a practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, I've had friends who've been like, oh yeah, I got microdose, like I got some mushrooms at the store or at the whatever online. I'm like, you have to work with someone. Like you can't just do this on your own.
I mean, you can technically, but it's so much more rich because a lot of it is like just even now, like in our exchange, it's like the expressing it and listening and reflecting each other. You have little light bulbs that go off and connections that get made, and you see it's
Yeah.
such a subtle practice. But then often in hindsight, people are like, "Oh wow, I haven't had a headache in 6 months."
Right.
Until
Right.
I didn't really think of it until I spoke it. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I was in a group with 6 other ladies. And one of the ladies actually stopped drinking. And looking back, you know, she had said, I didn't realize I had a problem, but I now see that I have a problem. Um, and so it was interesting to me that was a huge result for her, right? Like, and a very measured result. Was my result at the time, I don't think I could necessarily totally measure, right? It was more subtle and it kind of grew over time. Right. So do you find that people have like these like, wow, aha results? And, you know, some people have it
I
seems
see it all.
okay. Yeah,
I see it
totally.
all.
Right.
There's always people in every group that have just an immediate, from day one, day two, they're having these amazing, profound gifts and shifts and physical healing or mystical things happening and beautiful serendipities occurring. And then other people, it is more subtle and it really takes some time to connect with the medicine. But the medicine's always working. It's just
Right.
really up to us to reflect and kind of listen and attune ourselves to hear its voice. And sometimes it's only in reflection that we see it. It's very, very common for people like to look back and go, you know what? I just have had a lot less friction in my life. Like just life has just been easier in some way the past few months. They'll also say, I'm more patient with things. Like I can feel myself responding to things differently. I metabolize things differently. Like if something irritates me, I used to hang on to it for days and time and like stew on it. And I can just feel it now and it's gone from my
Right.
system differently. So people, it's those kind of subtle reflections that they're like, aha, okay, the medicine is working. Interestingly, oftentimes people in our lives and our pets often notice shifts too. So people might not notice it, but their kids will come to them and say, "What, Dad, what do you do? Are you doing something?" And he says, "Why?" And he said, they'll say like, "You're just really listening to us. Like you're all the way here."
Right.
And it's like, okay, they're feeling something different. Our pets act different around people once they start microdosing. So it's so subtle, but it's magical at the same time.
That's so good. So good. So I'm sure people have heard like, you know, you can be called to plant medicine, right? Like it can call your name kind of thing. Totally a believer of that. Is that your experience?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That just happened yesterday with a client. It's so funny. I've had so many wild stories of the way people get called. It just, once it kind of comes into your field that you're meant to do this, the mushrooms just keep reaching out. And so people will say, like, I just can't get away from this. It just is everywhere I look. Mushrooms will start growing in their home in very strange places.
I
They'll
just
find them in
had
the
that.
mailbox. They'll find them in the mailbox. They'll find them in their yard. And they're like, I've never had a mushroom grow in my yard. And now my yard is like full. I have a little mushroom forest going on in my yard. So that happens.
Wow. I just had that. Now that you say that, that's so weird. I noticed that the dog park I go to in the fall had quite a lot of mushrooms growing. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I have a plant that usually is outside, right, in the summer. And I replanted it into a new pot with new soil. Right. And it's inside for the winter. And my kids were like, there's mushrooms growing in that plant. Like, you need to deal with that. I'm like, leave the mushrooms alone. Like, what are you talking about? Like, they're just doing their thing. Right. So that's so funny you say that. Oh my God. Maybe I'm being called again.
Yep.
So interesting. Oh my goodness. So can you, like, just for those who may be new to this, can you explain, like, what does this look like? Are you taking, I know what this looks like, but are you taking a pill, a capsule? Is it every day? Is it like a certain mix? Like, what happens?
Great question. So when we first started back in 2020, medicine was harder to find, especially in certain places. So we taught people to cultivate their own, which is really wonderful. It's kind of like growing your own food in your own garden. It's like you develop a relationship with your medicines. You can talk to them, you can sing to them, be in the space with them. So that is always an option. And mushrooms are so easy to grow and so fun and fascinating to grow. So that's one option that people can do that's really safe. You're at home, it's private, and also very cost accessible to do it that way. More and more, especially now, fast forward a few years, there's many more options for medicine makers. So Canada has been trailblazers.
Yeah, for sure.
Very maverick. And so it's very easy to find mushrooms in the US and some states. It's still illegal in most places, but this is very much people powered, I believe. And it's so as people catch on and talk to each other about the benefits from it, I think it's really up to the government to catch up with people at this point, what we all see and know. So right now, there's a lot of options in terms of sourcing. It can be in the form of pills, capsules, tinctures, tablets, chocolates, lots of different finished medicines. But whatever medicine you use, I encourage people to, if you don't know the person directly, like, know someone who knows them. So like a lot of guides, I work with medicine makers that I know personally around the world, that I have relationships with, that I know are of the utmost integrity, carry a very high vibration, intentional, because that really matters. And I often explain it to people, like, when you go to the farmer's market and you get strawberries at the farmer's market, think about how different those strawberries taste and feel than the mass market.
Oh, totally.
Right. And so
it's
you want to
totally
take your time.
Different frequency, right?
So sourcing really, really deeply matters, and it's worth paying a little bit more to source from someone who really, really loves this work and loves them.
Yeah, for sure. So I live in British Columbia. Mushrooms grow here wildly, like the psilocybin, right? I can remember magic mushrooms growing. We called them magic mushrooms, grow in our front yard. And I remember my brothers picking them and thinking, what are you doing, when I was a little kid? And then realizing, oh, this will be good. And we used to dry them and make tea, and the tea tasted like crap, but you drink it anyways. And, the things. For sure, I think Canada, in particular, British Columbia, is very much a trailblazer, I think, in regards to psilocybin. And I know at the University of Victoria, they have a program there for terminally ill people that they can go through microdosing or macrodosing to prepare for death, right? And I think that is incredible, right? Like, what an amazing gift and an opportunity for people who are facing the end of their life, like they know it's coming, right? And maybe they have anxiety or whatever around it, right? And I think it's awesome that that in Canada, and particular BC, that we are supporting this industry kind of, and this way of a natural healing of ourself, right? rather than prescription medication to deal with anxiety or whatever it is, right? Like, I'm not knocking that. Some people need that for sure, but there's other alternatives, right?
Absolutely. One of the biggest mindset shifts that kind of people need a minute to kind of get their head around when they start practicing is we're so conditioned in this mindset of pharmaceuticals and
Yeah.
pills, and healing is external to us. And this thing or this authority is telling us what to do or doing something to us to heal us, whereas mushrooms are igniting our healing within us. They're just
Mm,
catalysts. And so people are often stunned that they have this healing, they have these experiences, and then they think they have to keep microdosing to maintain what they've gained. They don't. They stop microdosing and they retain, like, I've never had a seizure since. My seizures
wow.
ceased, but I was like, I wonder if they're going to come back when I stop microdosing. Now, my nervous system is reset. And lots of people describe it. They're just like you, they tried everything. They're like, I've done therapy, I've done every program, I've done cognitive therapy, I've taken so
Right.
many different modalities in trying to heal, and nothing has really done the trick completely. And then they start microdosing and it all comes together. And that's because it's everything they've ever done is kind of integrated into, they've always been healing, but it's like mushrooms were the final thing that kind of brought everything together, and they keep it. And so it takes a while for them to trust that it's me, it's me that healed. I could have done this all along. I just needed an assist from nature to get there.
Right. Right. I'm totally on board with that. Right. Like, I do believe that our bodies are incredibly magical and that we can heal ourselves much of the time. Right. And sure, we can use advances in medicine or whatever. Right. And that can look like alternative kind of approaches. Right. Like, what could, this could be considered alternative. Right. Or even, other things like breath work or something, right? It's incredible what I think our bodies can do being in the right kind of like surrounding kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, right? Like you're surrounding yourself with this supportive piece that you need. It doesn't have to come from necessarily a pharmaceutical concoction. Right. So interesting. And so you mentioned something there because that was one of my questions when I went through microdosing, which was like, okay, so when do I start again? Right.
Yeah.
Like, once I got to the end, I was like, okay, so that was great. When do I go again? Right. And my guide, my coach there, she was like, you'll know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was like, what do you mean you'll know? And she goes, you'll know. Trust me, you'll know. Like, you don't have to keep doing this it's not a maintenance thing, right? Because I was like, is there a maintenance dose? Like, what do we have to do here? Right. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, this is not some people never do it again. Some people go on and do other things. Some people come back to it. Like, you'll just know what's right for you. So thank you for mentioning that, right? Because I think we're conditioned to think, oh, I take this thing, I have to keep taking this thing,
Yeah, we
right?
think it's apples to apples with antidepressants or something similar, where we have to keep doing it the rest of our lives. And it's the opposite of that. Yeah, even if we continue and we come back to it, this happens a lot in our community, is someone will start because they have headaches, for example, and then they heal their headaches and they might come back in a year and begin another cycle of microdosing for an altogether different purpose then. So it's beautiful to watch people stretch it over the arc of their life, because as you grow, the medicine grows with you.
Right? So good. So good. Um, do you have any like inspirational stories where, like, obviously yours with the seizure, like, that's huge, right? Like, that's huge transformation. Do you have any other kind of inspirational stories that might
Of
inspire
tons.
people?
I have
Yeah.
I have so many, but one just came up again yesterday. So I think that's the one that wants to be shared since it just
Right.
happened. So I had a woman, this was almost 2 years ago, and she's a healer. She's a very, very accomplished tapper. She's an EFT tapping guide, coach, and amazing. And she has done every type of therapy modality under the sun. and she came to practice out of curiosity. And it has been such an inspiration to watch and witness her. And in her particular group, it was her theme, but also the theme of her particular immersion group that she was in. It happened to be a group of all women. And right before the group started, what came through to me, the theme was going to be all the women in the group were reclaiming and coming home to their own energy and spirit.
Oh,
And when I got to
I
meet
want to
them,
be in that group.
and when I got to meet them that first day and I was listening to all of them share and reflect their intentions, it was beautiful to watch, like see it all unfold. And this woman in particular, to a T, like she was so successful, so accomplished in every way. But she had this one area of her life where she was kind of self-sabotaging herself, and it was in relationship. It was in her relationships over time. And there was something there that didn't quite fit. And so over the course of the 6 weeks, I watched the medicine really, really bring these women home back to themselves. And the message from Spirit was that all of them had experienced something in their early life that they were utilizing their energy and their life force to react against, to take up space in the world. They were told they were small. Well, I was going to take up space. Or they were told they couldn't do this and they were going to overcome and be like overachieve past anyone who was putting them down. But the theme was their energy was reacting to this external force rather than being sourced from within themselves. And to watch and witness this woman like reclaim all of her energy that was going directed outward back home to herself. 6 months later, fast forward, she is in the most aligned, beautiful, balanced, beautiful partnership in her life and was engaged to be married, I think 9 months later. And I just heard from her yesterday. She was just reflecting on how much the medicine helped her heal that last remaining bit of self-worth that was there, that was a wound in her, that once she healed that, she called in the relationship she was meant to have.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my God. I went through like a, year-end kind of reflection kind of activity with my Rich Life Revolution Mastermind ladies. And of course, I never asked them to do things I don't do myself. So as, I'd already done this process. And I realized that I want to experience like the love affair of my lifetime. That's how it came to me, right? And it was like, I don't even know what that means, but it sounds amazing, right? Like, and I don't know how that's going to happen, but I look forward to it, right? So that is awesome that she experienced that, because that's what it sounds like to me, right? The love affair of your lifetime in that aligned partnership, right? Like, that's incredible.
And it's beautiful, and it's all different for all of us, but mushrooms in particular, I find they go straight to the thing. It's funny, they're clever and indirect in some ways, but they're so direct, and they kind of scan you, and they're like, this is this thing that's kind of preventing you. And for some people it's relationship, some people it's money, some people it's career and self-worth and asserting their voice in the world. And it finds the thing, it goes straight to it. And that wound is often kind of the through line to our greatest power on the other side.
So good. So good. Well, I'm super inspired. This is awesome. So it sounds like you work with people like one in a group format, but do you also work with people one-on-one? Like, what is it? What do you do, Kayse?
I do. So yeah, during the pandemic, that was when I was in California at the time. We had a lot of time on our hands, and
right?
I had a personal practice at the time, was just working with people quietly one-on-one. And that's when I put together my group program. So we started doing 6-week group immersions back in 2020 and have now done 29 cohorts of those together. They're always fascinating and so fun. A small dedicated group, an intimate group of people. And then I'd work with people one-on-one. And I also have a community that is, people got busy again post-pandemic era. A lot of people wanted to start, they wanted community and connection and guidance and coaching, but they didn't have time to kind of do a program and train and read on screens anymore.
Right. Totally. I'm totally there. It's like, I don't want to be any more on Zoom than I already am. Like,
that's everybody. And
Yeah.
so just recently we launched our global community. And so it's a really accessible, lighter version where we just have group calls. And thanks to my sourcing partners in other countries, we open it to 30 countries around the world, which is so fun
That's
to
amazing.
see people from other countries and the way they hold medicine there. And so that's we call it our global microdosing community.
Oh, so good. So good. So where do people find you? Like we'll put all the details in the show notes, but how do they find you? Are you on social media? Are they like, what's going on?
Thank you. Yes, I'm on all the places. So I'm on all the socials. You can find me Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook a little bit
Right?
because it's Facebook.
Yeah.
And then our website is microdosingforhealing.com. And I know we covered a lot of the introductory questions, but I have a free downloadable 80-minute workshop on there that people can ask that I designed for like all the questions covered that people might ask in the beginning of practice. It's free
That's
on our
super
website.
useful. Yeah. For like the microdosing virgins out there, right?
Yes.
Like that's super useful because there are lots of questions, right? And especially if you have like some kind of stigma around this, right? Or like maybe even I remember talking to a client of mine in my business and she's very religious and she was like, yeah, that's against my religion. And I was like, okay, well, it just might help to just check it out. Like, is nature against your religion? But I'm not going to, open up that can of worms kind of thing. But, I think there are so many questions that come up for people. And so having that workshop is hugely beneficial. I highly encourage people to check it out then.
Thank you.
For sure.
Yeah, and our community is great. I find one of the most empowering things for people if you have stigma, if you're confused. Right now, it's funny. A few years ago, there wasn't enough information. And now on the interwebs, there's almost too much information. Like I see people come in with like, should I dose some body weight? And I'm like, no, there's so many things that are incorrect on the internet. So it's really nice as a first step to, before they even start practicing, they can join the community and just have the privilege of like listening to lots and lots of other people who are just starting. They're 6 months in, they're 4 years in, some of them. So you can really get your confidence much more quickly if you just listen to other people just like you around the world
totally.
and their experience. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time today to connect and to share this. I think that it's such a gift from the universe for us. And if it calls to someone, then, lean in, but find, like you said, the sourcing and the community you're in, I think is super important, right? I remember meeting somebody, I was actually weirdly through this yoga class that I was in, and she was saying, I'm just starting doing like microdosing journey coaching. And I was like, do you have like knowledge on that? Like, you just start doing it? Like, I don't know. And she's like, well, and it seemed kind of flaky to me. Right. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like for me, I'm very conscious and aware of the frequency of the people I'm interacting with and the food or the things I'm putting into my body and on my skin and like all of that, right? Like I think that the frequency, like that vibration really matters. And so I don't think like to me, it seemed kind of like this kind of trendy thing that maybe she was kind of jumping on board. And I didn't feel like she kind of like, I almost felt in my conversation with her that I knew more than she did just by having gone through a microdosing journey. Right. And so I was like, this is one of those things where who you do this with matters.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wanted to bring you on because you have so much experience in this and you're so highly regarded in this that it to me, the information and the actual like practicing of this, who you're ingesting information from and who you're going to do this with actually matters a whole bunch. Just like you said, who you're sourcing it from matters. Right?
It all matters. Yeah. Thank you for reflecting that. I mean, we're kind of in this funny space because it's a field, but it's not a field.
Totally. Yeah.
So it's like there's no like who gets to do this and what kind of certifications are it, and they're starting to come up with training programs. And I have a mentorship group with other microdosing guides around the world. That's wonderful, and that comes up a lot. And they're like, how do I differentiate myself from the guy on TikTok?
Totally, right?
Like been in the field for 2 minutes. Like, how do people know?
Totally.
And it's you just have to step in and meet people. And I think it's an intellectual process in that you're sharing education and information and knowledge, but it's also a deeply energetic practice. And so who you're with in the group, that you're transmitting your energy together, who your guide is holding space for you in the container matters. And so exactly, like you said earlier in the conversation, it's the cultivation of the safe container is what allows you to have the results you're going to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take your time and, as you said, kind of check out, interview people, talk to other people, and you'll feel it. Like you'll know when someone feels grounded and true to you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. 100%. 100%. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm just so grateful for you and your time and this information that you're putting out into the world and the work you're doing, because it collectively impacts our world, our collective consciousness. The more this is out there, even if people don't actually engage in the practice, even just knowing about it, like shifts the frequency, right? So I'm super grateful for you and you people in your world who are, doing this work and making it accessible to people, right? So thank you.
Thank you so much. And and people often ask in Canada, when I talk to Canada, they're like, can Canadians do it?
Oh, yeah.
So sweet. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And we have a really wonderful, our sourcing partner in Canada is also a guide herself and just a lovely, lovely human being. So yes, Canadians are more than welcome.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody has a great day. Thanks, Kayse. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing conversation. I hope you're feeling as inspired as I am after hearing from Kayse Gehret. If there's one key takeaway from today's episode for me, it's this: healing is already within you. Mic drop. Microdosing isn't about relying on something external to fix you. It's about reigniting that inner wisdom, that innate magic, and using nature's support to come back home to yourself. Whether you're navigating anxiety, seeking deeper spiritual connection, or looking for tools to help you grow, remember, you are your own greatest healer. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to check out Kayse's free microdosing workshop and her resources. Like seriously, it's a gold mine of insight. And if you're curious or have questions, DM me over Instagram at Michelle B. Cooper or on any of the social channels. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Thanks for tuning in, my beautiful revolutionaries. Remember, you are worthy of the rich life you desire. And until next week, take care, stay curious, and keep shining. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you got at least one gold nugget today. Be sure to grab your copy of the Rich Life Revolution workbook to help you set the foundation for your next level of wealthy. Get it now at richliferevolution.ca, and I'll see you later.